I want to check in on Wemby and Chet. You guys posed an interesting question to me yesterday. I think it's very clear, and I think you guys will agree with me on this. Chet Holmgren is the rookie of the year right now. Your question to me was, what would have to happen? What would Wemby have to do? How would the situation have to play out for Wemby to take over and actually win the rookie of the year? So where are we at with this? I'm going to start with you, Nekias.
I do agree with you. Like, I think as of January 15th, I think Chet is the rookie of the year. I think what he's been able to do on both ends, the level of efficiency that he's been able to play with, he's doing so on a winning team. And it's not like he's just getting spoon fed. Like Steve and I talked about it on the rookie report last week. The rate of unassisted baskets for Chet Holmgren has continued to rise as the season's gone on. The improved comfort, the increased comfort as a driver, rather, what he's doing on these post ups, taking these balls to break threes, his ability to grab a defensive rebound and push himself. It's not just him pick and roll spoon fed by Shea and he just gets numbers on a good team. Like, he's played a pretty large part, figuratively and literally, for what OKC's been able to do this year. But what Wemby is doing with a minutes restriction right now is insane to me. And the fact that the efficiency is also starting to rise with him, in addition to the holy crap plays that we see from him every night, he has defended at borderline, if not just a flat out all defense level for most of the year, honestly. And Steve and I talked about this throughout the year with him at the 4, the off ball value that he was bringing, now at the 5 and navigating the drop as well as he is. I'm just wondering, like, in the box score numbers, you just look at points, rebounds, blocks, like, he has Chet beat, especially if you just filter for December 8th, which is the date that he shifted to full-time center in San Antonio versus starting with Zach Collins. That's what made the question jog my mind. Like, I think these are the clear-cut top 2 unless someone gets hurt. What would have to shift for Wemby to overtake Chet? Because I think the box score number is going to be there. I wonder how much of an efficiency bump he needs, because I don't see the Spurs winning like 20 of their next 22 or something to make a play-in push. So I just wonder, like, how wild the box score numbers will have to get, how wild the efficiency will have to get, and if he actually makes an all-defense team, if that case becomes more prevalent nationally, would that get him over Chet with what he's doing so far?
Hey, Nekias, does 16, 12, and 10 in 21 minutes shift the needle for you at all?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
The man has Victor has 3 straight double-doubles, all in 25 minutes or less. For me, I think it's the fact that OKC is not only winning, but Chet's impact on their winning that makes it tough for Wembanyama. The tough part is, we talked about on the podcast, it feels like the Los Angeles Angels era for Wemby, to where he's putting up all these stats and all these great numbers, and it's like, wait, they lost again, which I don't think is necessarily his fault. I don't want to discredit him for that. But I think with Chet being able to knock down those threes, being able to finish in the restricted area, his cutting off ball, I don't think he gets enough credit for the field there as far as the pressure he puts on defenders. He's a great fit for OKC, but you look at his ability to relocate, his ability to space, drive, the sequences of I'm going to pick and pop, I'm going to hit this 3 in transition, now I can pick and roll, now I'm going to drive past your closeout. And defensively, he fits right in with what they're doing. So I think you can see what Chet does every night. It's contributing to winning. I think that's probably what shifts him over Victor, unless, is there a scenario that it could happen?
Here's a scenario. I couldn't believe this, and I know it's such a small sample size relative to the rest of the season. And there's a couple games in there against the Pistons and Hornets. I could not believe this. They shifted Trey Jones to the starting lineup. Finally. Hello. Finally. 5 games ago. In that stretch, they played the Bucks, the Cavs, 2 playoff teams, Pistons, Hornets, and the Bulls, who've been resurgent since Zach LaVine was out and Kobe White took over. They are 7th in offense, 10th in defense, and 6th in net. It's almost like when Trey Jones is on the floor, they're a functional basketball team. It's interesting. Here's a scenario. What if they started Trey Jones the rest of the year and they continued to be a functional basketball team? Because I think some of the efficiency stuff with Wemby versus Chet is the real talking point. And to me, it's not just the box score numbers. it ultimately, voters are smarter and smarter. It's not who is the leading point getter, who is the leading rebounder. Like what Chet is doing on a great basketball team as a rookie is just it's phenomenal. And I'm trying to think, like, how many times have we seen a rookie this efficient on a top 5 basketball team? And not just efficient, productive. Like these are real counting stats. OKC's number 3 on defense, number 4 on offense. Chet defensively, like I'm talking about Wemby in a second. Chet defensively has been so good, better than I could have imagined. And I think the impact on winning, as long as OKC continues to win, I don't care what Wemby does. I think Chet's going to win this thing. You brought up December 8th. 14 games for Wemby, 26 minutes a game. He's averaging 20 points, 11 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 3.8 blocks. For the year, he's averaging 4.2 stocks per game. Like, both these guys are just monsters. But I think ultimately, in this scenario, Trey Jones has to continue to start. Hello! And Wemby, I think the efficiency has to go way up, and they've got to win games. Let's say I'll throw out this hypothetical. Let's say they're essentially 40% win percentage the rest of the year. And OKC, which I don't think is going to happen because they're so fucking good, OKC is at like 40% win percentage the rest of the year and gets the 6th seed. Okay, there's a scenario. Is that going to happen? I don't think so.
Yeah, you'd have to see a pretty drastic drop from OKC. Or again, since we have the games played minimum, like that could get wonky. But obviously, you don't hope for any of that. So I guess for me, like I wonder what Chet would have to do. Like, because Steven, I talked about him seeing some more switches and OKC just trying to put more size on Shea and trying to neutralize that pick and roll pairing, which very quickly just got a quick chuckle while I was looking this up. The Shea Chet pick and roll and the Trey Jones Victor Wembanyama pick and roll both at around 1.07 points per possession. So that's a funny one. But like if you see more switches, you neutralize some of the offensive stuff with Chet. Like, do you see enough of a dip there? And like Wemby has the louder, not only the higher box score numbers, but the louder stuff offensively. Like, does that start to shift it in the mind of some voters with the way the season closes out? Like maybe that's a pathway.
I think for me with OKC, it's hard because you can't necessarily pin them down with one thing. Even going beyond Chet, that's been one of the most fun things of watching them is that they adjust to what you're trying to do defensively. And you look at OKC, they clear wings to make sure they have space for these drives. They start their screeners in the corner, including Chet, which is just an unnatural angle for defenses to like guard. It turns into a step up almost every time. So I just feel like they're a little bit too far. I don't want to say too far ahead because then you end up sounding like light years ahead, and I don't want to do that today. But
we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
But I don't think you can pin him down and pin them down to the degree where it's like, okay, I don't think Chet's having that same impact. I think you're going to feel that all year long, and that's a credit to him and the Thunder.
Okay, I like it.